What's up, YouTube? Cam that guy here. I'm back once again with another YouTube video. So in this YouTube video, I'm about to be talking about paint. I'm going to be talking about color matching and formulas. You know what I'm saying? So if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. So we're going to begin with color matching and end with formulas. So here we go with color match. It's been a minute since I talked about paint, but now, we're back on the paint shit, you know what I'm saying? So this is, excuse me, a little chip. Let's go ahead and talk about color matching, right? Let's go ahead and get to it. So look, there's gonna be a lot of pauses, you know what I'm saying? Because I got this chip in me and shit, you know what I'm saying? So you already know the deal with that, you know what I'm saying? But look, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking like this because, I might get new viewers and shit, so yeah, man. But anyway, let's go and get to it. So, you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about color matching, right? So, what it pertains to color matching shit, very simple shit to go ahead and get into, you know what I'm saying? What it pertains to painting, right? Now, obviously, each color matching system is different, but generally, you look at a Home Depot and Sherwin-Williams, they have similar color matching systems. They probably work differently, but they go the same and shit, right? That's something that, I didn't know. Because I went in for an interview one time at Sherwin-Williams, and it's similar to Home Depot. So I'm gonna explain both of their color matches, and you can go with it. Those are the two I would say top paint places to get paint from is a Sherwin-Williams and a Home Depot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna describe each of their color matches, and I'm gonna begin with Home Depot, right? So Home Depot color matching system goes like this. You know what I'm saying? There's a big scanner, and there's a piece underneath it that's like a square. You know what I'm saying? Ideally, it could be as big as it wants, but as far as the smallness, I would say it needs to be able to have like a mass. It needs to have a mass, right? So you don't know what a mass is, right? My fault, excuse me. It needs to have a matter. Well, of course it will have a matter. It needs to have a mass. So mass is there's mass, gas, and matter, right? So mass is like the size of something. You know what I'm saying? So it needs to have a mass, right? You know what I mean? So I would say when it comes to the mass, I would say it needs to be let me see. It probably needs to be. Let me grab some real quick. It needs to be. Give me a second. It needs to be about this big for color matching. If you could bring a piece in this big from color matching, you good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna describe the Home Depot. Should they probably updated, things? It's been years since I did the color matching, right? But I'm gonna describe to you the color matching. So for color matching, you put it on there, right? Then you hit color match. And for Home Depot, it's gonna flash, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna give a light because it has to scan it and shit, right? So it's gonna flash, you know what I'm saying, on the piece that you brought in, the little sample. Then it's gonna generate something, right? So what it's gonna do is it's gonna recommend a color, or it's gonna let you proceed with the color matching itself. You know what I'm saying? Itself, little chip. So let me say this real quick. If you really want that color to be exact, like you really trying to get that shit like exact, you know what I'm saying? You want to go with the color it recommends. That's something I learned through, a little trial and error. You know what I'm saying? I noticed when I was at Home Depot, the colors that they recommend are better than the color matching itself. Because like I said, look, the color matching system at Home Depot is not 100% accurate. And I say this to customers all the time. You know what I'm saying? A customer get a color match. Hey, I got this, and it turned out the way I want. So that's why I always say, like, you check the history, the track work. I always say the color matching system is not 100% accurate. ABC. That's what I normally say, right? You know what I mean? So when it comes down to it and shit, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, when it comes down to it and shit, when you color matching and shit like that, you always let them know it's not 100% accurate before you even make it. You know what I'm saying? All that other shit, you know what I mean? So first, what I like to do is I go with the color matching itself. You know what I'm saying? I roll the dice and go with the color matching itself because if they're not telling me I really need this color to look like this, like I need it, you know what I mean? If they're not giving me no details, I go with the color matching itself. I'll make it right. I'll put it to a sample. You never when you bring in a color match, you never make what they say. Let's say I need a 5 gallon of this color match. I give it a sample and say, do you like this? Now, if they do, okay, what do you do with that sample you made? You put it in oops paint. Now, that's what they had at Home Depot. We had an oops paint, right? So I'll set it over there for it, and you discount the paint for other customers to buy. That's what you do, you know what I'm saying? So with me, you know what I'm saying? you know, I'll do a sample first. I'm like, okay, you know, I'll put a sample on a little wooden stick and I dry it. Here's why it's important to dry paint, because when paint dries, it darkens. That's when it comes to its full color. So, you know, I'll put a little bit on the paint, you know what I'm saying? I'll blow it, you know what I'm saying? I'll go and dry it. I gotta dry it all the way, you know what I'm saying? Then after I dry it, you know what I'm saying? I show them, do you like this? You know what I'm saying? I compare it to the color match. You know, is this all right for you? You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, they're gonna let me know. You know what I'm saying? That's how it goes and shit like that, right? So on the contrary, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, they really need something 100% accurate. You know what I'm saying? I'll go ahead and go with that color. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes just for a little chip. Sometimes just for, you know what I'm saying, insurance, I go with the color matching and the color. You see what I'm saying? That's what I do. Sometimes I do both. And we really in a pickle. We really got to get this color right. Sometimes I do both. Which one you take it? Color match or color? Because if there's some chance under the sun, the color matching might just be better than the color they recommend. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how it goes. Typically, when they really need a color to go with the color match, I go with the color I recommend because it's better. But there are chances that a color matching scan itself can be better. You know what I mean? That's how it goes and shit, you know what I'm saying? So I can't really give a percentage, but I'll say more times the color they recommend be more exact than like the color match. Because color match at Home Depot, man, you know what I'm saying? When I tell you it works and shit like that, but it's not 100% accurate. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it goes and shit, you know what I mean? So it's like, now they probably updated it. You know what I'm saying? They probably got updates and shit like that, right? But when it come down to it and shit, like, bro, like something I've noticed. See what I'm saying? Something I've noticed, you know what I mean? And like I said, I'm not saying the color matcher is just completely useless. Little chip. I'm not saying the color matcher is completely useless. I was saying, if I had to give some type of percentage on it, you know what I'm saying? And it depends on what you're bringing in, the definition of the color. All that plays a role. You see what I'm saying? All that plays a role, right? But if I had to give some type of percentage, even though I said earlier I wasn't going to do it, I'm going to do it for all intents and purposes, right? If I had to give a percentage of color matching, you know what I'm saying, at Home Depot, I'll give it around 70. You know what I'm saying? 70% of accuracy. You know what I'm saying? Believe it or not, that's a big little gap. You know, so that's kind of a big gap. You know what I mean? It's not 100% accurate. You know what I'm saying? So 70% is like, yeah, it's more towards the color, but there might be flaws within that color. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like how it is and shit, right? You know what I mean? So for me, you know what I'm saying? I always let them know it's not 100% accurate. You know what I mean? And I will say this: the darker the color, the more exact it'll be. I'm gonna say that one more time. The darker the color, the easier it is to color match. You know what I'm saying? Because the color's dark. You know what I mean? All that other shit, right? So, you know, darker colors are easy. Just in general, darker colors are better for walls. They're better, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? To scan, you know what I mean? And all that other shit, right? So that's kind of like what it is and shit, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you know what I mean? You got like kind of like a unique color, you know what I'm saying? Then I'm better off going with the thing it recommends. But if it's a solid, it could be a medium color as well. If it's a color like that, you know what I mean? We go out that little color match, keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it go. But typically, if they want 100% accurate, if they be like, I need this to be 100% accurate, I'm going off computer. But if they're bringing in a regular color matching shit, I just, color match it, dry it. Is this good enough? They're going to let me know, and then we go from there. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm going to end up doing that shit, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty much all I do, whatever it tells, you know what I'm saying, to the color matching, right? Let me mention some more things about it. You know what I'm saying? Let me mention some more things about it, right? You know what I mean? Let me mention the zoom in factor. You can zoom in on color matching, you know what I'm saying? You can, you know what I'm saying? At Home Depot, let's say they bring in a piece, but it has like stuff around it. You know what I'm saying? You can't zoom in to the color that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? You can zoom in on it, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know what I mean, it will be able to scan in on it and shit like that. So you can zoom in on, a color that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that, you know what I mean? So you bring in a color, you know what I'm saying? You zoom in on, a particular color, you know what I'm saying? Because it might have, other things on the sample that it brings in. So you can zoom in on a particular color, you scan it, you know what I'm saying? All that other shit, you know what I mean? And then it'll be able to scan, you know what I mean? And put the color, up there and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So when it come down to it and shit, you know what I'm saying? You can zoom in on color matching, like little items that you bring in, you can zoom in. And obviously you can move the camera around, you know what I'm saying? A little chip. You can move the camera around, I'm not sure if y'all know that. But you can move it around as well. You know what I'm saying? You can move the camera as well and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Definitely can. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's what you can end up doing and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So if I need to, you know what I'm saying, let's say there's a little piece or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And like, you gotta, you know what I mean? Like I need to move the camera a little bit. You can move it. And if I need to zoom in, I can zoom in. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I can do with the color matching. And then outside of that, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all there really is to color matching. That's the base of it. You know what I'm saying? Also, I can add a little bit more to color matching, right? You probably wonder, okay, you tried the color recommendation and then you try, the regular color match. Maybe it needs to be a little lighter or darker. To make it lighter, you add white. To make it darker, you add black. You see what I'm saying? Now you probably wondering what are the measurements. Home Depot standards, I'm probably gonna go with let me remember. Hmm. I forgot the measurement. You know what I'm saying? It's been a minute, man. But I would go with essentially an eye drop. I would go with an eye drop. If I had to give an estimation, probably 400 THS. You know what I'm saying? That might be good enough for you. That might be, or 100 THS. Either one of the two, I would probably want to go with that. You know what I mean? When it comes to dropping, you know what I'm saying, into something, where you want to make it lighter or darker, I would go with probably like 100 THS or 400 THS. I don't remember which one you want to go with, or maybe like a 230, something like that. I don't really know. But I would definitely go with like a in the hundreds of a THS. You know what I'm saying? I would go with a solid 100. You know what I'm saying, for starters. And yeah, but make sure that it's like an eye drop when you drop it in there. Not nothing bigger than that. So like a drop, like a boop. You know what I'm saying? You should literally see it just sit in there, right? And then you shake it and shit. And it'll give you a little result. You know what I mean? Shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that, that's how you lighten and darken. But with color match, you want to be very careful because something you don't want to do with a color match, you know what I'm saying? Is, well, I mean, it don't matter. It's a color match, but so you fine. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if worst case scenario. Oh, let me also say this, and I'm glad that what I'm saying, this came across my head. Each time you color match, it generates a different formula, right? So let's say you color match. You know what I'm saying? You made it too dark by accident. You can type in that same formula on a computer. It's going to generate that same formula code. You know what I'm saying? Let's say you mess up on a color. Oh, I made it too light by accident. You rescan that color match, you're going to get a new formula. So if the formula turned out good, you know what I'm saying? All you need to do is type in that formula that already got printed. You know what I'm saying? And then start over from there. You see what I'm saying? That's all you need to do. But I want to say this. Every time you color match, it generates a new formula. That's why I always say the color matching system is not 100% accurate because you're never going to get that same formula. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, you know what I'm saying, when people, I always tell people for color matches, keep the sticker on there. In case you need more of it, I can retype in that formula. You know what I'm saying? That's what I can end up doing. The formula never stays the same. It always changes. That's why it's not 100% accurate. That's why I say a good 70. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Also keep that in mind. You know what I mean? But outside of that, that's about everything pertaining to that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, formulas. We're about to get into formulas in a little bit. You know what I'm saying? This video is getting a little long, so we're about to definitely get into the formulas after I finish this color matching. But yeah, so like I said, when it pertains to color matching, look, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, when you bring it in, you know what I'm saying? When you bring in, my body got goosebumps. When I got this chip fuck with me, like I can't even do work. Like, can a nigga do his job? You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, dog. Like, can you leave me alone? You know what I'm saying? Like for real. Like, why are you distracting me for? Seriously. You know what I'm saying? Let me work. You know what I'm saying? I'm in productions right now. I'm doing shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm on go right now. You know what I'm saying? Let me focus. Let me concentrate. Little chill. Let me concentrate. So anyway, look, you know what I'm saying? So to review the color matching before we move on to the formula and stuff, but let me finish this real quick. You gotta make sure that the formula, all that other stuff is good and shit. So how do the formula, there's a number at the bottom, you just type it in and shit. And then you go from there. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much all you do and shit, you know what I mean? And then yeah, you know what I mean? It's gonna generate that formula, you know what I mean? And then you good, you know what I'm saying? So for color matching, if they be like, I might need to come back and get more, be like, keep the sticker on there. So when you bring it back in, Go ahead and type that number in, it's gonna generate that formula because the color match will never generate the same formula. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you make it too dark and light, retype in that number, you're gonna get that same formula, and you can start all over. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, you know what I mean? That's about everything pertaining to color matching. Let's go and do an overview. You know what I'm saying? So color matching, just like I said, you know what I'm saying? Color matching goes like this. You bring it in, right? You know what I'm saying? And when they bring in the piece, it needs to be about I already showed you earlier. You can check back. It needs to be about that big. You know what I mean? If they're just looking to get a regular color match, just color match it. Always show them, like always dry it, all that other stuff, and compare it to the piece. Do you like it? It's up to them. Some customers, you know, they're okay with it being a little bit off. Some customers want it exact. There's none of the. Sometimes color match it might be damn near a little chip. Some chip. Some color matches they might be a chip. Some color matches they might be damn near exact. You know what I'm saying? Some color matches they might be damn near exact. But for the most part, you know what I'm saying? Color matches, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes they're a little off. It's up to the customer's discretion. You know what I'm saying? Whether they want to go with it or not. You know what I mean? And then, you know, you just go from there and shit. So I always show them this shit. But if a customer come in and be like, man, I need this color to be exact. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when you gotta, you know, you gotta focus. Like, do what the computer says. If it needs lightening or darkening, you gotta go from there. And like I said, like, that's a hit or miss. You know what I'm saying? Because you'd be surprised. One drop of a color can drastically change paint. You know what I'm saying? So you might drop it, it go too light. Like I said, if that happens, drop the dosage. You know what I'm saying? All that other shit. You know what I mean? So that's just how it go and shit. You know what I'm saying? So when it pertains to color matching, you know what I'm saying? Shit gets serious. You know what I'm saying? You gotta focus. Like, okay, they want this exact. I need to do this. Make sure it's well shook. I'm gonna, instead of a little 2 minute, I'm gonna do 3. You know what I'm saying? And all that other shit. You know what I mean? And then, you know what I'm saying? You dry it and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And then, you know, you put it on there and shit. You know what I'm saying? You show it side by side. You know what I mean? And then you go from there. You know what I'm saying? That's what you end up doing and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, you know what I mean? When it pertains to paint and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? You need to make sure, like, this color matching shit, you gotta go through above and beyond. You know what I'm saying? Show them both colors. You know what I'm saying? All that other stuff, dry it. You know what I mean? Make sure it's well shooken. You know what I'm saying? I might go 6 minutes, excuse me. Instead of, you know, 2 or 3, I'm gonna go 6 minutes. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm gonna end up doing this shit, you know what I mean? That's what you gotta do, you know what I'm saying? All that. Or you can go 4 or 5, you know what I'm saying? You can do that as well. But, you know, for me, you know what I'm saying? Typically when I shake paint, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. If it's busy, I take it out in 2 minutes. Now, if it's not busy, I let it be in for 3. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do and shit, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the situation. So if I feel like, you know what I'm saying, it's, you know what I mean? Oh man, I'm laughing. All right, so anyway, look, you know what I'm saying? If I feel like, you know what I'm saying, the paint is, you know what I mean, fuck. If it's not busy, you know what I'm saying, all that other shit, you know what I mean? I just, you know what I'm saying, I shake it, you know what I mean, let's set for 3. If it's busy, I gotta do a lot of things. I wanna take it out of 2, put a little color dot, have a good day. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I go. I wanna mention this one thing real quick. So if it's a sample, you can handshake it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know that. You don't have to put a sample in the shaker. You know what I'm saying? You can handshake it. You know what I mean? That's what you can end up doing. So that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? And 5 gallons, I would say out of 5 gallons, right? These paints, this is a little tip out there for people. These paints sometimes need an extra shake. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when you shake a 5 gallon, they go for 2 minutes or whatever, right? Sometimes you take it out of some shit, you be like, why it look like this? You know what I mean? Sometimes what I like to do with 5 gallons, they got this other mode on there, you know what I'm saying, that you can press. I think it goes way longer. I believe it goes to, 5 minutes. If I remember correctly, I don't remember. There's like some thing on there, right? So that's, you know what I'm saying, sometimes, you know, like I said, I'm not busy, you know, I go with that mode. But I'm not saying the regular 2-minute shake can't work. I mean, it's gonna work more likely than not. But I'm saying sometimes, you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean, you'll take a look at the paint, you know what I'm saying, and then you'll be like, you know what I mean? But most times it works. I'm not saying that it's unreliable, you know what I mean? But sometimes they might be off. So that's pretty much all I gotta say pertaining to the paint and shit like that, you know what I mean? And yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty much it. So that's pretty much the paint shaking process. And I went over color matching and shit like that. And that's about it, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty much everything and shit, you know what I mean? So I hope y'all, you know what I'm saying, got the gist, you know what I mean, of the color matching and all that shit and a little bit of the shaking. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, I was getting ready to go over open and closing lids. I was like, you get a little key, you open. You know what I'm saying? Opening the lids are easy. I like the little tops. You know what I'm saying? That you twist. You know what I'm saying? All that other shit. You know what I mean? I like those. I believe only Bear is the only company that has that. I don't even think Sherwin Williams have the little pour spouts. Bear they updated all their paint cans to pour spouts. I believe all different other paint cans they have, the little paint can opener. You know what I'm saying? But I believe Bear is the only one with a pour spout. You know what I'm saying? So I believe Bear is the only company that has that, right? But back then, I could never I was wondering I seen a couple of my coworkers, they would just open it. I'm like, how do you do that? So a little repetition, you know what I'm saying? A little training. I finally knew how to open it with bare hands instead of using the opener pour spout. I learned how to do that shit, and I would close it. I didn't, there's a time I closed it while the pour spout opener, it spilled. And I was like, oh my God, they about to fire me. You know what I'm saying? I was about to do and shit. But it's just a little trial and error, a little practice. You know what I'm saying? And then, I eventually, you know what I'm saying, knew how to, close it on my own and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I eventually ended up knowing how to do and shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how it going and shit. You know what I'm saying? You just, a lot of practice. You know what I'm saying? Just going through it. You know what I mean? And just, uh, focusing. You know what I'm saying? And going from there and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's just what you do and shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much how I handle that and shit. But as far as everything else, you know what I mean? Easy work. You know what I'm saying? Easy work. Easy work, you know what I'm saying? God, you know what I'm saying? Fuck, man. This shit funny, dog. Fuck. Alright, man. So that's pretty much all you do and shit, you know what I mean? And then that's it, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go over it one more time. Just for, I'm gonna give you clarity, you know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and do it, you know what I mean? So look, you know what I'm saying? Whenever it turns to color matching, I already been over it. I'm gonna do it one more time. I'm gonna go color matching, shaking, and then opening and shit. So color matching, like I said, you just bring in a sample, you know what I'm saying? You scan and shit, you know what I mean? And then, if it recommends a color, well, it depends on what the customers want. Sometimes they'll just bring it in and be like, I need this little color match. Then you just do it. And then, he hand it, you dry it obviously, and then you hand it to him, and then you let them know, like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Is this to your lightning? I mean, little chip. Is this to your lightness? You know what I'm saying? All this other shit, you know what I mean? And then, they'll let you know, and then you go from there and be like, nah, this is down the third. You can darken and align it, you know what I mean? All that other shit. Go ahead and go off the recommended color, you know what I'm saying? All that other shit, you know what I mean? And if they need it exact, you know what I'm saying? If they need it exact, sometimes you go through making two colors, you know what I'm saying? Just because, like, you could, with that formula that you put in, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and re-put in that formula, you know what I'm saying? And just go to the organic thing, the original thing that it made in the recommended color, you know what I'm saying? You take a look at both of them, this, that, and third. And look, some chance under the sun, go do another color match. If you're really having trouble making it exact, you can go do another one. You know what I mean? There's no problem with that. And all that other shit, you know what I mean? It might generate a better formula. That's what it might do and shit, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like how it goes and shit, you know what I mean? So you just do that and shit like that, you know what I mean? And then, you can go from there and shit, you know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much the color matching system. Shaking system, 2 minutes is all you need, you know what I'm saying? But in some cases, you got no customers, you can let it go for 3, you know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, for 5 gallons, no customers, you can put it on that other mode, make it shake longer. But for the most part, 5 gallons, they do shake accordingly. You know what I'm saying? All that other shit. And then for samples, you can't handshake it. You know what I'm saying? That's what you can do and shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much it. And yeah, as far as the pouring, you know what I'm saying? Bear do have pour spells that when a little trial and error, you can get used to opening and closing. It takes practice. You know what I mean? You can go through with that and all that other shit. You know what I mean? Then you get the rolling with the Bear and all that other shit. And obviously, all other paint cans, you use the little opener. You just do that. That takes practice as well. And then you go from there and shit. That's what you end up doing and shit, you know what I mean? So that's all it takes and shit. That's pretty much all I gotta say for that sequence. I gotta hurry up and end this video. It's about to get 30 minutes. So let's go and go to the color formulas real quick. So if you work at a particular company, you know what I'm saying? And I was gonna get into the Sherwin Williams color matching system, but who gives a damn about it, you know what I'm saying? I'm only talking about Home Depot standards. Fuck Sherwin Williams and that company. I boycott them bitches. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? When it pertains to it and shit, you know what I mean? Let's talk about, you know what I'm saying? The color formulas pertaining to Home Depot. You know what I'm saying? So when it pertains to the color formulas at Home Depot, I'm gonna try to tell you. I'm gonna see if I remember all the little chip. I'm gonna try to see if I remember, all of the color formulas at Home Depot. So let's see. Blue is EL, green is DL, red is RL, high red is RUL. White, I believe we're gonna come back to probably KXL. White is KXL. Black is we gotta come back to black. Tan, a little tan. I forgot what it's called. I don't remember the exact name of it. I think it was like a it's CL, but I don't remember the exact name of the color. It's CL or some shit. Let me see. I used to remember them at Home Depot like a motherfucker. I forgot a little bit. Let me see. So tan CL. Brown, they do have brown. Brown, I believe, is Brown, I believe, is we'll come back to that one. You know what I mean? And then fuck. Okay. So I got one. They have violets. They do have a violet there. Violet is VUL. And then they have like a different type. So they have two violets. They have a dark one and a light one. So the darker one is VUL, and then the lighter one should just be VL. Let me see. And then from there, that should be all the colors. I mean, if I'm correct, let me see. Hold on. I wonder how many colors there are. I was trying to think how many little if you don't know colorants, right? I was trying to remember how many colorants there were. I I don't remember. I was trying to go off the system. If I remember, I don't know how many there was. Let's just say there were 5. You got 5, 10, 15, 20. There are probably 20 colorants. You know what I'm saying? Because when we lift the grade thing up, we had to fill each one of them up. I'm assuming that, let's just say there was 5 in a row. You know what I mean? 5 times 4 is 20. So let's just say there's 20 of them. You know what I'm saying? Let's just go ahead and say that. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know what I'm saying? There were 20 colorants. There's a lot of colorants, to remember and shit. So I don't really know. You know what I mean? So we just, say that and shit. You know what I mean? But when it pertains to it and shit, you need to know these color formulas. This is something that you need to know. You know what I'm saying? Also, you need to know what happens when you mix certain colors with each other, right? You know what I mean? Like, for example, let's say if I mix a bright red, a RUL. Let's say if I mix a RUL with, let me think. Let's say if I mix a RUL with a EO. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to be a good combination because this is too bright compared to this dark blue. You know what I'm saying? All that other shit, you know what I mean? I mean, it could work, but you're going to end up most likely getting like you're going to, you know what I mean? It might not, it depends on what purple you aiming for. You know what I'm saying? What purple you trying to aim for. Red and blue makes purple, right? We all know that. Let's go over this let me give you clarity. Red and blue makes purple. Blue and green makes yellow. Let me see. What makes blue? Let me see. I'm trying to think. Let me think of all the colors I mixed together, right? Green. Let me see. Red and blue makes green, right? No, that makes purple. My fault. Blah. Yellow and blue makes green, right? And then pink is red and white. And then let me see. To make orange, you would do it's definitely red. Red and yellow. Red and yellow makes orange. Oh, matter of fact, let me go and go over it. A dark yellow is AXL, and then a light yellow is YL. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. All that other shit, right? So like I said, you know what I'm saying? If you're if you're, you know what I'm saying, if you're trying to, you know what I'm saying, achieve, let's say for example, I'm trying to achieve, you know what I'm saying, bright green like this. I'm trying to achieve a bright green. You know what I'm saying? Let's say we ran out of green. We ran out of green. We ran out of green colorings. I want to achieve this bright green. You know what I'm saying? So what I end up doing is like, okay, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm gonna miss a RUL with this EL, right? And see how it turn out. You know what I'm saying? And look, I can add some white to it to go and make it lighter. That's what I can do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna add the brightest red with this goddamn blue so it can turn out lighter. You know what I'm saying? And then if it needs to be lightened, I'm gonna add some white to it. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm gonna end up doing. You know what I'm saying? That's how I will achieve this bright green. You know what I mean? So you need to know the color formulas and how they mix and all that other shit, and then go from there. You know what I'm saying? And also, let me say this: know the measurements of it as well. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes too much of this color and too much of that color might just be something. It might just turn out, you know what I mean, not as you may predict. So in other words, the color might be too strong for, you know what I'm saying, for the other mix and all that other stuff, right? You know what I mean? So also know that shit. It's been a while. I forgot. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what I mean? Back then I obviously knew it more. So that's just kind of like what it is and shit like that. So, you know, I pretty much, you know what I'm saying, just say that and shit. You know what I mean? That's pretty much that situation and shit. And yeah, you know what I mean? That's, you know, everything. You know what I mean? All that other shit. You know what I mean? So we at 31 minutes. This is actually good. We can go and end the video. I don't like my videos no longer than 30. You know what I'm saying? So I gave y'all, you know what I'm saying, a good, you know, overall summary, you know what I'm saying, of color matching and formula work. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to end it right there. You know what I'm saying? That works for me and shit. You know what I mean? And I hope y'all enjoyed this video. You know what I'm saying? If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and shit like that. You know, a little chill. You know what I mean? And look, I'm going to catch y'all in the next painting video. Yo.